one more time.
And Pam, when we have such a small group, I think I'm okay if we just kind of, you can go right through it and be okay. Are you all right with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'd like it to be kind of, I guess, more of a conversation. So I think we're good.
Absolutely. And I know we had a few people that emailed me before that their counties are still on delays and still have a little bit of ice left over. So that's why we're recording today's session in case anyone can't be with us. So that was our home-based manager, Dr. Rob Dietrich, by the way, who was joining us so graciously in our dance off. Don't worry, I didn't record any of those moves. Uh, but I'm hoping that wherever you are safe and warm and dry. And thank you for joining us. So we do have just a few updates as we get started. First of all, in WebEx, we do have a new feature today for our meeting today where we have live captions are available. So you can click on in the bottom left-hand corner, there is a little robot looking icon that you can click on to start the WebEx virtual assistant, which has our captions. And next to it, you'll see a CC button. So we do have captions available on this live session. So we're excited about that. Of course, there's the chat in your lower right corner. Feel free to chat to everyone. We'll be doing some interactive things. You also all should be muted upon entry into the meeting, but you can unmute at any time. We do have a smaller group today. We had about 45. And so let me make sure I'm seeing someone saying there's not captions, but I've got them turned on. So let me double check that real quick. Okay. Looks like we're good now. We should be seeing captions. Let me know if you're not seeing them now, but looks like they're turned on. So perfect. All right, so thank you again for joining us. Let us know if you have any questions with WebEx during this time. You do have the ability to chat with everybody, and we welcome your participation. So we do have a Padlet back channel for our session today, just like we have for previous sessions as well. I've updated it with our going still with our Valentine's theme here. So I'll put the Padlet link in the chat. If at any point you have questions, things you want to bring up and ideas, since this is a small group, we're going to be finishing early unless there's a lot of good things that you all want to discuss. So feel free to put any questions or ideas and we'll come back to the Padlet frequently throughout the meeting. So if there's any things you want to share, also I'd love to hear any successes. So if you have any good feedback to share with us about Go Open, if you want to add it to the Padlet, we'll make sure to share that with the whole group. All right, so just a side note, I understand that we're probably all multitasking. So unless you are wanting to speak, if you could stay muted, that would be perfect. All right, so we're going to go over a few home-based updates. So we do have a separate slide deck for our opening, and so I'm just going to go through a couple of those slides with you all now, just so that way you're aware of the larger umbrella that is home-based. So I know sometimes when I send for Go Open, especially when I send these meetings and I say home-based meetup, you might be saying, what is that? And so all of our home-based applications, things like SchoolNet, Canvas, PowerSchool, Nieces, which we use for our professional development and evaluation, all fall under the home-based team here at DPI. And so these home-based meetups are our quarterly meetings. Normally, we're able to go out in the field and we're able to have these meetings face-to-face and in person regionally across the state. However, since the pandemic, we have been doing this virtually. So please, feel free to interact and look forward to hopefully at some point we'll be getting back to normal and able to go out and travel and see you all again in person. But just know that these quarterly meetings are for you. They're for you to There's a slide here that I'm forgetting. They are for you to, you know, of course, get relationships with each other, with us as DPI, to get feedback from you about what's working, what things that we need to take back to our vendors and say, hey, wouldn't it be great if Go Open had this? And then also provide that coordination between some different DPI-based groups. So with Go Open specifically, I also coordinate a lot with our standards, curriculum, and instruction team because they, when they update standards or new things are happening, we want to make sure that they are able to utilize Go Open to help share resources. So of course, you know, we know recently that the social studies curriculum has been, or social studies standards have been adopted by the state board. And so we'll be working with the standards curriculum and instruction team for social studies on resource documents and things that will help the teachers unpack those standards. And so, of course, we're going to hopefully get those on Go Open as NC as well. So just wanted to kind of give you that overview of the broader base of home base. So we will be talking a little bit about these updates, and then we're going to go right into our Go Open NC session. I don't expect us to be all the way until 12, but we'll see how good the conversation is. And if nothing else, I can turn on the beach music again. For those of you who are joining us now and didn't get to see our dance off earlier, it was pretty nice way to start a Friday, if you ask me. So just one note, we were supposed to have our Canvas meeting yesterday if you're also a Canvas admin for your district. However, due to the weather across most of the state and the uncertainty with the power outages, we've rescheduled that for Monday. So that link is here, as well as the link to register. So if you were already registered, you should have an update from WebEx. It's the same WebEx information. It was just moved to Monday. But if you didn't have a chance to register for Monday's meeting and you'd like to, you can certainly use that link. We'll also be sending out the links to the recordings for all of our meetings, so all of them are recorded, and you'll be able to go back and look at any of our earlier product meetings that we had earlier this week. Just a note about our schedule. So again, we have one more round of these quarterly meetings left in this academic year. So back in, next will be back in April. So mark your calendars for Friday, April 30th. Will be our Go Open NC session. If you want to go ahead and put that out, and I try to put a calendar invite with the registration a few weeks ahead, just like I did for this meeting. So just be note that it's on April 30th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And as far as I know, that is going to be virtual as well. But hopefully next year we'll get back out in the field. Just to let you know, there are some resources and links here from the Department of Public Instruction as you continue to teach and learn during and after a pandemic. Hopefully we will get to the after phase soon. So I wanted to make sure that you are aware of these links and guidance. Also, this is one of our things we'll cover in our Go Open slides, but Digital Learning Day is next week. Yay! Is anyone on the call? You can use the chat or unmute. Are you guys planning any digital learning celebrations or things at your schools for DL Day next Thursday? Thought I heard someone unmute, but
it was me. I was saying I haven't planned anything yet.
Okay. Well, if you haven't planned anything yet, be sure to check out the Digital Learning Day. The hashtag is DL Day. And yay, Kelly is using the Google Doc that DPI made. So we have some resources for DL Day that I'll send out in that follow-up email on Monday with the link to the recording and the slide deck too. We have some things going on to recognize teachers. We also have our OER Summit, which is a collaboration with Go Open Virginia. And so that's going to be that afternoon from 2:30 to 5 o'clock. It's an unconference we're going to have about digital learning and open education resources. So I hope you can join us from that. And just to, another note about all of those applications that are included within the home-based umbrella. So SchoolNet, PowerSchool, Nieces, Canvas, Imagine Math, Learning.com, and of course, Go Open. On Wednesdays, you will see that on the home base Facebook page and Instagram, you will see a little tidbits about our different applications. So for Go Open this week, I shared about our latest course being released. So feel free to go back and look at those posts that are on Wednesdays. Good little tidbits about all the different applications. And then finally, if you have any updates that you need to about your contacts and leads, we don't have an official on here for Go Open, but they're supposed to be working on adding that as we transition to a new website. But if you have someone else that should be included in these calls, let me know, and I'm happy to add them to our email list. But if you have some updates for the other applications, you can use this link to update any contacts as folks move and change. All right, so we're going to go back to our slide deck here, which I put in the chat link again. So we're going back to the Go Open one. And you'll notice too that there's a link on most of the slides in the top right corner for that Padlet. So let's see if anyone's added anything yet. Looks like not yet, but we'll be continuing to come back to this Padlet. So if you have questions or things you want to discuss or successes you'd like to share, please feel free to jump on this Padlet. All right, so I'm going to go over a couple of updates. So first of all, I just wanted to say hello. I'd love to give everyone on the call a chance to introduce themselves. So I know from the DPI side, we'll start with DPI folks first. I see, of course, I'm not here. I see my teammate Cammie is up here. Cammie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hey, good morning. This is Cammie Nairn. I am on the home-based team with Pam, and I manage the teacher evaluation system, Nieces. Y'all have a great Friday today.
All right. Thank you, Cammie. And then I also see that Julie is with us. Julie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yes, I'm Julie Gerganis, I'm the Northeast consultant with Digital Teaching and Learning. Thank you, Pam.
No problem. And Lauren's with us too.
Hello, everybody. Lauren Boucher. I am the Southeast Digital Teaching and Learning Consultant.
All right. And then, Rob, did you want to introduce? I know you said something earlier, but just to say hello again.
Yeah, sure. Hey, everybody. Thank you very much for being here with us on a Friday. We're very glad to have you. And I look forward to a good session. Thank you, Pam.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to start with our LEA folks. I believe that's everybody from DPI on the call. If I forgot somebody, I'm sorry. So if you would just come off mute if you can and say your name and your district and your role and one place you would like to visit if you could go anywhere in the world. We'll start with that since we're all feeling kind of cooped up at this point. So Brenda?
Yes. Hey, I'm from Washington. I live in Greenville, North Carolina, but I work in Washington County, and I'm a PE teacher. And where would I love to go? The Bahamas. What is warm?
Sunny and warm. Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Well, Brenda, I'm glad you could be with us.
Yes, I'm glad to be here.
All right. Carrie?
Hey everybody, I'm Carrie Robledo from Moore County Schools. I'm a digital integration facilitator there. And if I could go anywhere, I'm with you. I'm thinking somewhere warm, and so Bora Bora sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah, good choice. All right, Jan? And I know sometimes those your laptop or desktop might not have a microphone on it. So if you want to type in the chat a little introduction, that would be great. All right, Kathy, can you unmute and say hello?
Hey there, I'm Kathy Blankenship, Assistant Superintendent for DHHS, and I would love to go to the beaches of Vietnam.
Ooh. Have you been there before?
I have not.
Okay.
I would love that.
Yeah, that's so. I've seen some beautiful pictures from there in the Philippines. Oh,
Yes, I've been to the Philippines.
oh, okay. That's wonderful. All right, Katie.
Hey, I'm Katie Martin. I'm in New Hanover County at the beach. It's raining. So I'm the lead teacher for math and science at the secondary level. And I think I'm gonna have to go with Hawaii. Always wanted to visit Hawaii.
Absolutely. All right, Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly Williamson. I live in Grifton, but I work in Craven County and the director of digital blended learning. And I would love to be at Key West. We had planned on going there, and then the pandemic hit. So I'm waiting to get back as soon as I can.
Absolutely. Have you been there before?
No, I have never been, and my father turned 80, and we turned 50, both my husband and I, so it was going to be a giant spring trip. Yeah, so I'm waiting patiently.
Well, hopefully you can go soon. I've heard it's beautiful. I've never been. It's on one of my bucket list items there too. Libby?
Hey, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Hey, everybody. My name's Libby Moretz. I am a digital learning coach in Davidson County. If I could go anywhere, I would probably have to say Barcelona. I too am ready for the beach and would love to be there right now.
All right. Thank you, Libby, for joining us. Scott?
Hey everybody, it's Scott Cowan. I am in Henderson County, and my title is lead coach for virtual learning and mathematics, but like everybody in curriculum, we just wear whatever hat they give us. So I'm our Go Open representative and have enjoyed learning more about it.
All right. Is there any place you'd like to go, Scott?
Oh, I left that out. I think I would like to go to Ireland and trace some family roots.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list too. I actually have a cousin, a very distant cousin who lives in Ireland, and so I'd love to go there and kind of see all the family ancestry. So
Absolutely.
All right, Susan.
Hello, everybody. I am Susie Reed. I'm the digital learning coach in Montgomery County for the whole east side of the county. There are two of us, and I have the east side. And if I could go anywhere right now, it would be some beach somewhere. I got the song going in my head right now. Turks and Caicos, somewhere where it's warm and the waters are like different beautiful colors of blue. So there you go.
All right. Sounds great, Susie. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, Pam, I had to jump in one last time because we didn't get that opportunity. I would say Malaga, Spain is where I would like to go, kind of right there near Barcelona. But I went there on my honeymoon and it was beautiful on the Mediterranean.
Oh, that sounds gorgeous.
It does. I've actually been there. This is Kelly, and that's where I want to retire. It is the most beautiful place on the planet. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's where we want to retire too. We'll just have to meet each other up there.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, the older I get, I think the more important it is for me to retire in a warm climate. Like, I see why so many folks do it. I'm like, yes. All right, so I wanted to start with a little celebration. Yay! For those of you who've been following, we just keep on growing. And that's exactly what I hope to keep doing with Go Open. As we're up to, as of this morning, we have 33,426 users. And so that's about a 14% increase from the last time we met together in November. So excited about that. My goal is 50,000 users by June 1st. So I'm hoping that with all of your help and encouragement about getting Go Open out there, we can meet that goal of 50,000 users or even go past it. So, you know, some other stats too. So it's not just people clicking on the platform, but we also have continued to see a number of resources grow that teachers are adding to the platform. We're up to almost 5,000 teacher added resources on the platform. So that to me tells me not only are people clicking on Go Open and finding resources, but they're also seeing the value in collaboration and adding their own resources to the platform. So excited for that. A little cheers, right? For the continued growth. So I wanted to point out a few things that are new since last time we met on Go Open. These are all links, so you can click on the slide, and I'll put the slide deck back in one more time in case anyone is new and hasn't opened it up. But so the first thing I'm going to talk about is from Gaston County National Resources. So we have partnerships at DPI with our non-formal educator group, which is people like from our museums and zoo and different historical places across the state that offer educational resources. And we're trying to get them exposed to Go Open and saying, hey, wouldn't you want to share your materials with us? And so Gaston County National Resources is one of the ones that took us up on that offer, and they've built out a little collection of resources. So these are some of their virtual field trips that they've designed, and they designed these specifically so that way students can do them in a school or at home, which I think is kind of nice because, you know, they have these schoolyard field trips where, you know, you can do this in your schoolyard, or you can go at home if your students are learning from home. So a nice thing maybe to think about for your science, or even, you know, thinking about PE and making that cross-curricular collection there, thinking about that, Brenda. You know, having kids get outside, get moving, and see what observations they can make in their backyards. Right now, my observation for my kids in the backyard would be a mud experiment. So I'm looking to see if they have a field trip about mud and the different types of mud, because that would be what mine would be. So another thing is our Advanced Learning Hub. So this is also new since November. So in partnership with our Advanced Learning Group, so our, you know, AIG, they had about 250 lesson plans that most of them concurrently live over in SchoolNet, but we wanted to bring those lesson plans into Go Open, because Go Open has a very nice, easy way for teachers to remix all of those lesson plans, so that way they can be personalized for the needs of the learners in their classroom. So we brought over their IRP resources here, and you can see there's 4 collections of them for ELA, math, social studies, and science. And so those lessons are here in our Advanced Learning Hub. And you can reuse and remix these resources. So I'm just going to go into one of the math ones. And of course, you can go, once you're in the collection for math, you can go down to our education standards and you can filter them down by their, not extended, you have to do math units. So if I wanted to look for 3rd grade math, I can see the resources aligned to 3rd grade math, and I can go down into a resource, view resource, and then there's that remix button there in the top corner. So as a teacher, I can look at this lesson plan. These are pretty comprehensive lessons too. They all follow the EASE method with engage, elaborate, and evaluate. And, you know, maybe I needed to make some adjustments to this based on the hybrid format, or based on the materials I have available in my classroom. I could easily click that remix button and make a copy of this lesson plan. And not only will users on the platform be able to see the original, but they'll also be able to see my remix. and it asks me why I remixed it. So maybe I'm remixing it because of the format of my students right now, whether they're in the classroom or they're at home. Or maybe I remixed it because I want to add some graphics and visuals to help support student learning. Whatever the reason, when you remix, it makes a copy, so the original is unchanged, but then also that version is available as well for folks to see. Any questions about the AIG hub? I do know that the AIG, our advanced learning team, has also put together like some choice boards and choice labs that are on their website. They're going to be moving those over to Go Open into their hub as well. So there will be more to come in the advanced learning hub. All right. Well, Carrie, since you're here, do you want to talk a little bit about your virtual PD that you're putting together and that you've shared on Go Open?
Sure. Yeah. So we, in Moore County, we have our building engineers in K-12 classrooms, which usually it's a conference that usually takes place along with our robotics competition. But unfortunately, this year we weren't able to have those in person. So we had several presenters take part in our virtual conference. And so we posted all of their recordings here on our Go Open page. So if anybody missed that, they can go back and watch. And I know Susie is on the call, and she was one of the presenters. Thank you, Susie. We had a lot of, yeah. So if you're interested, or you can go back and watch these videos here in our group from our hub. Yep. And then we're also working on, we have moved our robotics challenges virtual as well for this year. And so once we're done with our competition, we're going to put all of those links into our Go Open page as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I just wanted to highlight what a great idea I think this is, because a lot of different districts have conferences that they host for their teachers, and what a great way to kind of put that PD back into Go Open so anyone across the state can access it. And Carrie, it was pretty simple, right, to add those links to, because you had them in YouTube.
It was super simple. So all we had to do was add as, sorry if I'm looking at it. Yeah, when we go to add, and we would just submit from the web and add that link straight from YouTube. So yeah, it was very simple.
Yeah, so that, I just was thinking that's a great idea for, archiving. And we have the North Carolina Professional Teaching Standards, as well as the digital learning competencies for both teachers and administrators on Go Open. So even though you do have to align it to a standard, you can certainly use those professional teaching standards. So it makes it really simple to put it on the platform, and now it's here and everyone can see it. And then also you can add in the links to some resources if you have any additional things. And now that PD is here and Go Open for everyone across the state to see. So Susie, did you have any other thoughts or anything you wanted to add to it too, since you were one of the presenters? And I'm totally putting you on the spot, so it's fine if you don't. I just want to give you the chance to add anything. So if your wheels are spinning about this idea, like, oh, we're having a reading conference, or we're going to have a virtual math, PD session. So the basic process is that you go in through that Add OER and you submit from the web. And basically, if you have like a Google site, or if you have a YouTube video, you would put the link into that piece, and it would actually pull in whatever you've added to like YouTube. You know how you can add in the description and the title and tags. Our search engine will actually pull in that information for you, so you don't have to retype it. And then you just have to kind of go through it and add any extra details that you wanted to add, maybe a description of, when the session took place or that kind of thing. And then the important part is adding a keyword tag. So if I go back to these resources real quick, and I open one up, down here at the bottom, you'll notice they all have this K-12 engineers tag. So when you add a resource to the platform, you add a tag to it, and then you can email me and say, hey, Pam, I added, our 5 presentations from today's conference, and they all have this tag, and I can make a custom collection for that. So that way you can share out all of those resources using just that one link. So this is the collection that got created for that Gaston County Natural Resources. So super easy to do. You just upload it to Go Open, and then you make sure everything has the same tag, and then you can email me and say, hey, I need a collection built, and I can turn around and build this collection for you to be able to share within your district, and also the resources are there for everyone across the state.
Can I do a shameless plug, Pam?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So as part of that, that PD that we did back in October, November, we have now opened it up to where we're accepting calls for accepting engineering lessons from teachers around the state. And I'll put the link here. Submissions are due by March 10th, but we're paying teachers $195 per lesson, as long as they meet all of the requirements listed in the rubrics. And we do provide feedback if something's missing or they need additional details. But there is the link. I hope I just posted the right thing. But yeah, there's a link to the form. So if you want to share that out with your teachers, we would greatly appreciate that. And they can submit up to 3 engineering lessons and get paid for those. And we're going to be adding those to our hub, so teachers from around the state will have access as well.
Yes, that's an awesome opportunity, Carrie. So glad to share that. I'll be sure to put that link too in our summary that I send out on Monday. So. All right. Just a couple notes about what's coming up. So first of all, we are getting ready to have a new round of our culturally relevant teaching series. And so we're going to be hopefully getting our collection of resources ready. And then we're going to also currently have working with a group of K-3 science teachers and high school math 3 and 4 teachers to upload some of their best content to the platform. So they have until the first week in March to finish their work. And so hopefully mid-March, you'll see collections for K-3 science and high school math 3 and 4 resources. Of course, math 4 being a new course, we wanted to make sure to have some content for that course on Go Open. So hopefully this summer, we're going to be having a similar event for the new social studies, because we know that with the new social studies being implementation next year, that we are going to be looking for resources that are aligned to those new standards. I did want to give you an update on our self-paced courses. So we do have 4 self-paced courses that are developed for Go Open. These are courses that are available to anyone across the state, any licensed educator. They have access to NESIS, and they register for these courses in NESIS. That's where these course registration links will take you. The latest one that I just completed for this month is talking about how to use Go Open NC resources with Canvas in Google Classroom. So there's a 15-minute video, and like the first 5 minutes kind of goes over how to search for a resource. The next 5 talks about Canvas, and the last 5 talks about Google Classroom. So hopefully you can direct your staff to check out that mini course. They get 0.1 CEU for digital learning competency credit within 48 hours of completing the course. So you are also all welcome to click on the links and take the courses as well. I'd love any feedback if anyone's heard anything about these courses or any good things, bad things. Should we continue? I've got ideas for maybe 1 or 2 more courses, and then I'm going to try to just see about any other topics that you guys have. So I'll be quiet for a moment if you wanted to share anything about the courses. All right, well, know that the courses are out there, and they are, just a quick 1 hour or less kind of introduction into something about Go Open. There is one there you'll see about remixing. So I do want to talk a little bit about our upcoming professional learning. So as I mentioned in the opening slides, that we do have our OER virtual conference with Virginia. So Virginia also has an OER microsite very similar to Go Open NC, and they call theirs Go Open VA. And so we've been kind of working together. Their OER site launched about 6 months after ours. So I've been working with their state level person for the past couple of years now as we go through and plan and then launch our microsites. So we always thought it'd be really nice once we got, our sites launched and people using them to have like a joint event. So we planned this unconference. So it's an unconference session. So we're going to have like an opening session, and then we'll have 9 different breakout rooms that folks can join to hop in and out with some central themes for each round. And we'll do 3 rounds. So it's between 2:30 p.m. and 5 p.m. And then we're going to wrap up with just a short sharing session at the end. So we'd love to have you join us. It's open to any K-12 educator, administrator, anybody who would like to join. School counselors, any and all education folks are welcome to join. So I'll put the link for the registration in here. We really wanted it just to be like a positive, uplifting space on Digital Learning Day about how digital learning and open education resources has helped us as educators rise above just survival mode in the pandemic and into, what are some things that have worked well in the past year that we want to continue even after the pandemic. What are those best practices and things to share, resources. So we hope that you will join us. And if you have teachers who, maybe they have a live class or they have students until a certain point in the afternoon, they're welcome to register and join us late when they can. We understand. We knew that, there wasn't a perfect time for everybody to be able to join us, but we were trying to do it in the late afternoon. So hopefully most folks could join us if they wanted to. The next thing I want to spend a couple of minutes just talking about is our CRT. All right, so we are very excited. This is going to be our 4th round of culturally relevant and responsive and sustaining practices that we'll go through as a group. A little bit different with this round of CRT is that we're really aiming for a team. So when we've done the sessions in the past, it was great for individual educators, but a lot of times they were like, I really wish I had a team member or a partner at my school or district that I could talk about this work and, actually, make some changes that are affecting the whole school or the whole district. And so with this round, we're asking for a team of 3 to 6 people. It could be different people from different schools within the same district. That's totally fine. It could be a team, a math PLC or a social studies PLC. Those are fine too. It could be a group. We have a couple of groups of district leaders that have joined because they want to learn more about CRT. It is going to be based on the CRT competencies that were released by New America. So I'm very excited about this blend of work. Even if you join one of our CRT workshops in the past, the content for this round is going to be slightly different because we have those CRT competencies as defined by New America. So I love the competencies because they break CRT into 8 steps that teachers can implement or educators can implement at any level. So I thought it was very purposeful because a lot of times we have the reaction of when we learn about CRT, wow, okay, I need to do this, but the next step of how is sometimes unclear. So those competencies really break it down into the how. and the what kind of steps to do next. So we're going to be spending a class going over each one of those competencies. So there's 9 webinars in total. They are in the evening. We did that purposefully so that way everyone can participate, because we know if we did it during the day, we'd be excluding certain groups of educators who wouldn't be able to participate. So we do have it at in the evening. I'm going to put this link to this Google site in the chat in case you want to look at it. But I do want to give everyone just a minute to kind of look at it and let me know if there are any questions or anything that you've heard about this series. So kind of our goal is that as for each one of these webinars, as we look at a different competency, we're also going to be applying it to instructional resources and materials that the teachers are currently using in their classrooms or within their districts if they're a district level admin or a coach. And so, you know, we're really trying to get to that application level where we're not only just, you know, learning about CRT, but we're actually applying it in our work and in curriculum evaluation and choice, which is a really big, important part of being an educator, is selecting the materials and resources that we use with our students. So we do have a team of national experts that are going to be joining us for this series. We have Dr. Janella Coes. We have Josh Parker, who's actually from North Carolina, who's from Charlotte, and he used to be a former teacher in North Carolina. And then we have Christina Spears from Wake County's Office of Equity Affairs, who's going to be with us as well. And from ISKME, we have our partner Joanna Shkanitsky, who will also be with them throughout the whole series. So very excited about this work. Registration is open through February 24th. So please feel free to reach out. I would love to see you all each have a team from your district. We're hoping to get 40 teams from across the state. I'm also doing like a little matchmaking service where if I have a teacher from one school who's interested but she doesn't have a partner to pair up. So if you know maybe some people that are individually interested, feel free to let me know, and I'm trying to make like some teams of people that are interested but don't have a partner at their own particular school for whatever reason. And I was just going to share the link to that reflection guide with the competencies. If you haven't seen that before from New America, this is kind of what we're using as the basis for the CRT for this round, these 8 competencies. All right. Feel free to let me know if there's any questions. I'm going to take a peek at the Padlet just to make sure. All right, looks like we're good there. All right, so for the next section, we're now getting into kind of that collaborative part of the meeting, where hopefully you're going to explore with us on how we're doing with our goals. So just as a reminder, some of our goals for open education resources and open education practices is that we are creating a robust collection of open education resources on our platform, Go Open and See. that we're encouraging collaboration through the use of groups and hubs on our site, so that way teachers are not only just going and finding resources, but that they're connecting with their peers, sharing. We have a great hub for our ESL teachers and EL learners. So, that's been definitely a highlight or a success for collaboration. And then also talking about providing that opportunities for curriculum improvement. And we're going to spend a little bit of time today talking about evaluating resources and how that's really a critical piece of, yes, you can find 5 million resources on Google, but if you're not looking at them through a critical lens, then, how good is the instruction going to be in your class? You can save a lot of heartache if you look first critically at your instructional resources, and then, of course, that professional learning piece and what we're doing to support Go Open. So I would love to know just a little bit from everybody who could share out, how are you guys currently using Go Open? What are some things, that you're hearing? If you had to make an estimated guess, what percentage of your staff has heard of Go Open NC? So estimated guess, doesn't have to be anything formal. You could say 10%, 20%, 100%. I'd love it if it was 100, but I know that's not real yet. And if you've heard anything about Go Open NC. So we are working on a survey for later this spring that's going to go out for everyone to kind of give more detailed feedback about Go Open. But I'd love to know if you've heard anything good, bad, or ugly. Let me know, because I can't do anything about it if I don't know it, right? So if you wouldn't mind just going back through, and we'll give you a minute to kind of reflect on that, and then we'll go through and start with anyone who would like to unmute and share.
This is Susie Reed. I was just going to say that we did a PD on it, but I think then after the pandemic hit and everybody's so freaked out just about, we're a completely one-to-one district. So we haven't even been back in school in person yet. So I think everybody kind of is so overwhelmed with being online all the time. And, if you didn't know an LMS well, you had to learn an LMS and so much. I do think we need to revisit it. We had, like I said, we had a PD, everybody had to do it, but it needs to be a revisit thing, especially once we're back in person and in school, and teachers, when things get back to normal, I think teachers won't feel so overwhelmed. That's just my opinion.
Thank you for sharing, Susie.
And this is Scott Cowan in Henderson County. We are fortunate to have instructional coaches. They share 2 schools at the middle and high school level and 1 per school in elementary. And I've met with them and kind of let them share it with teachers as they felt the need. And that seems to have worked pretty well here, because I think the coaches a lot of times when meeting with teachers sometimes have a little more time to talk about instruction than administrators do. And I think they can pinpoint the teachers that had, this person would probably use it, this person probably would not, and kind of bring those up as needed. So I think our instructional coaches appreciated at least hearing about it.
Thank you, Scott, for sharing. So I see Brenda and Libby have shared in the chat that there needs to be more work about sharing Go Open, which is understandable. Even within the PD that we've been offering with Go Open, we've definitely been hearing from educators how overwhelming everything is still right now. And that, hopefully as things return to normal and we get back more in class face to face, that they'll have more time to dig in to Go Open.
I have used it personally. This is Brenda Pollard from Washington County. I have used it personally with some of my lesson plans here in school. As far as my PE classes, I have found some wonderful information. And I'm kind of like a beginner, but it's good. It's very knowledgeable information.
Good. I think, we all are beginners at something, right? So
yes.
So I think, is it Elena? Am I saying your name incorrectly? If so, please correct me. If you would like to share, because I think you might have joined a few minutes late, if you want to introduce yourself, that would be wonderful. That's a great idea about putting it in your pacing guides for Go Open. And Selena, I see you're with us as well. Selena, I don't know if you can unmute or if you'd like to introduce in the chat and just share a little bit about how Go Open is going in your district. We'd love to hear that. Yes, Math 4 being a new course is a challenge, right? And so we're hoping to get a lot more resources in for Math 4. So. So just as a reminder, when we talk about open educational practice, and if there's anyone who'd like to share anything, feel free to interrupt me. We'll stop and go back to that. But I did want to remind everyone of our CARE framework. So this is actually from ISKME, which is the vendor and our partner, a nonprofit organization, stands for the Institute for the Study of Knowledge Management and Education. And so ISKME is, our developer for our microsite. And they have done research and come up with this CARE framework about how we can promote open educational practice. So the movement towards open educational resources, right? And so, you can be a contributor to open educational practice by doing any of these things, right? So by contributing to the platform. And contributing doesn't always mean adding your own resources. Contributing can be something like going on a resource and giving it a star rating or leaving it a comment about what you feel is a strength or an opportunity for improvement about a resource. Those are great ways to contribute to the platform. Of course, attribution, and that's the nice thing about Go Open is that when I click on that remix button, it's going to make a copy of that resource and it's going to automatically give attribution to the author and show that Pam is remixing something that Carrie uploaded or, Susie uploaded, right? So that attribution's already in there with our OER resources. So I think the platform really helps with that. And then, releasing, right? And so we have to kind of give a little bit of freedom to our educators that they are going to release OER materials that are relevant and aligned, and also putting controls so that way if there is a material that maybe has a mistake, someone misclicked a grade level or an alignment standard, that we can go in there and report that resource and bring it back. And then also thinking about inclusivity and thinking about making sure that the resources meet the diverse needs of all of our learners, like, you know, making sure that they address cultural relevance, that they include the voices of, you know, folks who may not always be willing to share. So I know when I was on a PLC, several different PLCs throughout my career, some of them, the same people were the same ones always sharing their resources. It was the same couple of folks, it seemed like, on the PLC sharing, you know, their lesson plans and resources. How can we use Go Open to really help everybody have a voice and share their resources? So we're going to spend a couple of minutes talking about how we can evaluate resources on the platform. I just wanted to kind of highlight, this will be for our training for your CEU credit for today. So I wanted to highlight how we can look at resources on the platform and how we can vet them using the rubric that's already in the platform. So we have our quality review tools for digital learning resources rubric on every single resource in our platform. So everything right there, every resource can be evaluated based on these areas of instruction, technology, design, and content. And so one thing that we've had kind of success with our professional learning is that when teachers look at this rubric and checklist, so first the checklist is a nice little yes, no, that I can go through a resource and say, you know, is the instruction focused? Is it engaging? Yes, no. And then the rubric itself has more in-depth criteria. So I'm going to open it up. And one thing that we found with doing professional learning about Go Open is that the rubric is wonderful, but it's sometimes overwhelming. So when you look at, I'll show it on the platform in just a second, there is an introduction video that you can watch that explains the rubric and how to use it. But sometimes people say, you know, having so many different areas to evaluate at once can be overwhelming, or maybe I don't feel comfortable evaluating certain focus areas because it's out of my content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge realm, right? So for example, if I was looking at a high school math resource, I personally would not feel comfortable evaluating the instruction, you know, with alignment to standards, because I was a high school and middle school social studies teacher. So my knowledge of math standards is not where I would feel comfortable evaluating a resource. But on Go Open, you don't have to evaluate all of the areas on the rubric at once. So I can look at the parts of the rubric that are relevant to me, that I feel I have the professional knowledge to say, yes, the technology on this resource, you know, is accessible, or that there is, you know, appropriate in the content, right? So, or I can look at, you know, the pedagogical, you know, skills that are used. Is it engaging, right? So I may be confident on those indicators, but I'm not going to touch, you know, instructional focus or accuracy, because, you know, if it's out of my instructional realm. So I'm going to go to the platform, and if you haven't been lately, I'm just going to put the link in here if you want to follow along. You're welcome to do so. If you want to watch my screen, either way, that is totally fine. First, I'm going to make sure I've signed in, which is up here in this top corner here. So if you see your image or your avatar here, then you are signed in. If you click on this and it says sign in, then you need to sign in with MTN Club. I'm just going to go in, and I'm going to go into our hubs, and I'm going to go and see all hubs, so that way I can show you all of our different hubs here. So for today, I'm going to look at some of the resources that are in our global education hub, just because I know all of those, you know, resources are right there, already in a collection for me. So you can do that. You can go into a hub and look for a collection, or you can also go and do a search and search for a resource. Either way, the interface looks the same and the screen looks the same. So I'm just going to go, notice that when you do a search, you can sort by rating. So we can find our highest rated resources within this collection. We can go by date added or title, visits. So we'll see which ones have the most visits, right? So I'm going to come down here to this lesson here that doesn't have a rating, all right? And so when we think about how we can encourage folks to interact on the platform without putting a lesson plan on the platform, because I know a lot of times we get the, I'm not sure I have anything to share. I'm not sure anything's good enough. Well, first of all, yes, it is, right? Because if it's good enough for your students in the classroom, it's good enough to be put on Go Open, right? So we have these resources here, and you can evaluate by adding a star rating, right? So looking at the resource, looking at the rating. You can also leave a comment or that evaluation here. And this is that rubric that I was just showing you. And so I'm going to click on evaluate. And I'm going to, I can see this information about the video. There's also that how-to video.
Welcome to Go.
And it gives you like a 4.5-minute overview of the rubric and how to use it on the platform. But I'm going to click on Start Evaluating. And you'll notice here's our different focus areas for the rubric, right? So the first thing is asking about the degree of alignment standards, and it's 3 to 0, and you can hover over and see what the descriptor is for each one of those scores. And you'll notice that for this particular lesson, it's aligned to 3 different standards, right? So I can go in and leave a rating for each one of those standards based on the alignment standard. But then I go down here and, I can look at focus, is the instructional purpose and alignment with North Carolina standards explicitly stated, right? So maybe I feel like it's a 2, explicitly stated, and there's a majority of content and performance. So I can click on 2, and then I can also add a comment, right? So lesson plan clearly states standards and instructional activities aligned to standards. And I'll say all. All right, so I'm going to save. And when I do that, I can actually just click on view results. I don't have to go further in the rubric if I don't want to, right? So something that has been really powerful for us in our professional development that we've been lately is just having educators look at 1 or 2 of these rubric areas and complete a review based on those areas, rather than having to do the whole entire rubric, right? Or maybe you're working with a group of school library media coordinators. They can come in here and definitely look at accessibility and, maybe reliability and purpose when it comes to technology. ITFs can do the same thing, instructional coaches. They don't have to evaluate for the alignment to standards unless they feel like it's, within their professional zone of knowledge and expertise. So I'm going to go ahead and click on view results, and you'll see that there's an NR, right, which just means no ratings. And I'm going to finalize, and I'm going to show you what it does on the platform. So if I refresh this resource now, I must have not, let me refresh. I may have not clicked on save. Yep, looks like I did not. All right, so I'm going to go in and evaluate it again. And I was on focus. And that's 2. I didn't click on save and go to next. That's why I didn't save. And so There we go. Now you see I have a little check mark next to there. And then if I go to view results, now I have that series and a comment. All right, and so if I close this out, now you'll notice that there's a focus and what that score was that I gave, and then also the comment that I made, right? So right here, I've taken a look at this instructional material. I've opened it up and looked at it. And on that page, I've gone down and just looked at that one indicator on the rubric and left a rating and a comment on it. Any questions about the rubric? Okay, so I'm going to go in here and you can change it as well. So when I click back on evaluate, it's going to have my original rating right here. And so I can click on clear rating and clear comment, right? And so results, finalize, and it should be gone. Yep. So any questions about the rubric? Has anybody used the rubric before on the site to do an evaluation? Yay, all right. Yes, Brenda has. Okay, so we are going to take a few minutes to actually practice. So I'm going to, first of all, ask for your grace that these breakout rooms and WebEx go as planned. Since we have a small group, I'm just doing 2 breakout rooms and you will be able to join the breakout room of your choice. So I've got 2 breakout rooms, one for elementary and one for secondary. So depending on your professional knowledge and comfort level, if you'll either join the elementary or the secondary. And what I'd like to do is I'd like for you to look at the rubric first. Just look at the rubric and pick out 3 elements that you would like to use in your evaluation. And then as a group, you can either search for a resource together and all do the same resource. Or if you want to search for a resource that is something that you are comfortable with, and evaluate it just for those 3 elements. You can leave a comment to help strengthen your evaluation for that element. And if you discover something that you feel is broken or misaligned, I don't want you to evaluate it. What I want you to do instead is to flag it. So on our platform, on every resource, there is this flag icon. And what that does is that is actually reporting a resource. And I get a little notification that a resource has been flagged. And when it has report a resource, and you just say, what is it? Is it a broken link? Is it inaccurately aligned? Is there some type of licensing issue? You know, we have had a couple people who didn't realize they couldn't link to teachers by teachers things on the site and those kinds of things. So if you find something that looks wrong, I don't want you to evaluate it. I want you to flag it and move on, like try to find another resource. And I also don't want you to find a resource that's really comprehensive. Like we have some open education textbooks on our platform. I don't want you to spend time on a textbook because you're not going to have enough time in the breakout room to look at a textbook and evaluate it, right? So be looking for a lesson plan or an activity or something shorter in nature in your group. Any questions about breakout rooms and what you're going to hopefully do as a group? Right, so remember, as a group, spend maybe 2 to 3 minutes and choose 3 elements to look at. Find a resource and evaluated on those 3 elements that your group decided. And you have when you go to breakout rooms, just to let you know, you may be asked to reconnect your audio. They did that with me the other day on WebEx. So it'll like pop up and say connect your audio. Hopefully it won't, but just letting you know as an FYI, sometimes it does. Breakout rooms will close automatically in 15 minutes. Okay? Any questions before we get started?
This is Miss Pollard. I'm sorry to say, where do I go out in the break room? I mean, I'm not.
So I haven't started them yet. So what you will see is on WebEx, you should see where it says participants. And you'll see like a list of your name. You will see at the bottom of the screen a breakout sessions once I start them. And so that breakout session, I'm going to go ahead and start it. And now you should see 2 rooms. It says elementary resource group and secondary resource group, and you should be able to join. There should be a join button. Do you see that?
I don't see it yet.
So Pam, for the participants, it doesn't show up at the bottom, at least not for mine.
Okay.
It's showing up at the top of the participants thing, and it has a link that says show all sessions.
Okay.
So when I click show all sessions, that's when I see the 2.
Okay, I see it.
And if you're having trouble, I can also move you to a breakout session. So Brenda, would that be? Oh, I see Brenda went to elementary. So
this is Susie Reed. I don't see it anywhere. Maybe I've got too much other stuff going on.
Okay,
But,
would you like to go to elementary or secondary?
Sure, elementary will be fine.
Okay, I'll move.
Hey, Pam, it's Carrie. Can you move me to elementary, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Scott. I'll go to secondary. I don't see any option here either.
Sorry. Yeah.
No worries. It just popped up. I guess you put me in there.
Yep. All right. Julie or Selena, do you need help going to a breakout session?
I got it. I can see it. I was just looking at the rooms. Yes, thank you.
All right, just making sure.
ma'am.
Okay.
Hey, I'm back. I'm trying it now. I have a whole different screen now.
Okay.
Yeah. So just when I was on the web, I couldn't hear anybody. I couldn't do.
Oh no. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Did I just click off? I didn't mean to. Whoops. Looks like I did. Or I
Okay.
clicked off the video.
Under participants, do you see the breakouts now?
I hear you, but I'm not. I don't see the camera anymore. It disappeared. I'm coming back in. Only.
Okay.
You already launched it again. So I've got to open up here somewhere, but I do not see freaking meeting.
All right. Let me see if I can move you back into the elementary group and see if that helps.
Okay. Oh, let me see if it's below. Oh, I see it. I found it.
Okay, good.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to join back.
All right, we're going to give everyone just a couple more seconds to get back into the main room here. All right. Let me reshare my screen. All right, so anyone want to start us off with how that went? Things that they noticed from their group experience?
I will say, Pam, I thought we all decided to do the same lesson. Our group did, and we looked at the evaluate. It was very simple and easy to use. I like the scale where you could choose the different levels of whether or not it aligned. I will say we recognized when we clicked on view resource at the top, there were links across the top where we could go right back to the lesson, save it, add, do the stars. But when we clicked on evaluate there, it would not work. So we had to go back to the lesson and go open, and then, or the resource and go open, and then click on evaluate. So I don't know if that was something we were not doing correctly.
Do you have the link to your resource?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to put it in the chat, I'll check it out.
Okay, I'll do that. But I thought it was very easy to use. I don't know if anybody else on the elementary wants to share.
So click on view resource. And then when you came up here to the top.
Yes, where it says evaluate. Mm-hmm. Lauren and I both tried that. Go ahead.
So, I think, do you see over here on the right side, does it tell you to log in?
Hang tight.
So Pam, I did that. And every time it would just kind of keep me out and give me a blank screen like that.
Okay. So let's click on start evaluating.
Okay, and I had signed in, but I did not do what you just did. So I tried it again, and I'll see.
Let me just say sample. I'm just seeing if this works. All right, so view results. All right. And then if I go, I'll just go back to that resource again. So it did save it. So I'm wondering, but you're already signed in. So I will submit that as like a support ticket, but I'm not sure if that's just something that when you click on evaluate on the top, those little iframe links, that's what it's called, as a little iframe window when it has those go open links over the resource itself, if you're supposed to sign in again.
And I did, once I signed in again, it did work for me just then. But I did have to log. I was just going to say, I thought if I had logged in the first time, it would have kept that login, but it's making me log in again. And I didn't realize that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. And like Julie was saying, with the logging in, but it would also be helpful if when you click evaluate and if it didn't have, it would also provide you with the resource there instead of being like a blank screen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll check on that. I'm thinking because the evaluate is like a separate like window that pops up. I think that's why you're seeing in the background, like when I clicked on the resource, it's asking me again. But it's not asking me to take my like my information again. Like I'm not actually having to re-enter my NCA Cloud stuff. So on this background here, we would like the resource to appear. It would almost be nice if they would cut the screen in half, and that way you have the evaluation on one, and then the
because it doesn't even open up in a separate tab, so you have to go back and hunt for that resource.
Okay. All right, I'll take that back. Good feedback. Anything else? Anyone else want to share just in general their experience?
So Pam, I do have a quick question about that. So in the description, the material type for that said lesson, but it's not a lesson. It is strictly a reading article. So would that be something that we would flag? I did go down and write a comment about it, you know, that it's not a lesson, it's simply a reading article. But is that something you would flag?
So what happened, you can, if you want to, just the, what happened is a lot of our resources on Go Open came from our former Learning Object Repository, the NC Lore. And on the NC Lore, they didn't have all of the material types that Go Open has. So that in particular, the bad breath came from the NC Lore. And I think on NC Lore, everything was a lesson plan unless it was like an assessment. I think on NC Lore, they only had like 3 types: lesson plan, assessment, and maybe like video. So all of those resources came over and they're going to be imported as a lesson plan, but really they're more like a, you know, like an article or, you know, maybe an instructional activity or something that you would classify that as. So that could be something that we can look at too, if we ever have any resources for someone to look at each one and kind of reclassify it, but that's something that someone would have to do almost individually.
Right. Okay.
So Cami and I looked at search for slope in math for 8th grade, and I was impressed to see 68 results there. After clicking around, I see a lot of lessons that I like a lot better than the one that we originally chose.
Okay.
We started with a lesson about a phone bill and used a graphing calculator to come up with an equation for the slope and the line for a phone bill. But under the teacher resources, there's a student handout, and that link was broken, so that kind of made that not quite so effective. But there's another lesson underneath that has to do with a football coach selling hot dogs, and that one seems to all be there. So, but since looking around after that, there's some really cool other lessons.
Well, good. So I encourage you, you know, if you're finding things, you know, obviously the rubric is going to take more time, as we all kind of learned in your breakout rooms when I was bouncing back and forth. You know, you have to look at the rubric, you have to look at the resource, depending on how long the resource is. If it's a lesson plan, is it an instructional unit? Is it a full-length textbook, right? It's going to take you a different amount of time to look at it through the rubric lens. But keep in mind, there's also the Amazon kind of star rating and the comments section. So even if you didn't have time to really do a full in-depth evaluation with the rubric, you can still give a click, you know, 3-4 stars, however you feel the lesson is. Maybe that first one, maybe the one on hot dogs that you looked at, you know, maybe it's only a 2 or 3 stars to you because it was just a basic lesson that didn't have a lot of the bells and whistles. Feel free to do that as you're on the platform, and feel free to also like leave a quick comment like, hey, this is, you know, a basic lesson plan. It could use, you know, some more engagement, or it could use some extension activities for students to practice later on, you know, whatever you feel like it needs. That's another way besides the rubric to add comments, and the more comments and the more ratings we have, it'll help people find things better, right? Because Amazon, just how Amazon has a smart search and it's based on user ratings and how many people buy things. Well, there's a lot of similar logic in Go Open, but if people aren't leaving ratings or whether they're just little star ratings or real quick or comments, then the search doesn't have the data to get better, if that makes sense. So the more you can kind of, encourage folks to, hey, take a look, and, even if it's something that you find is not your cup of tea, give it, rating, what it is, is it, you think this is kind of basic, is it 2 stars? That's fine. But the more data you give the system, the better the search is going to be for everybody. So I hope that kind of helps you and helps you understand how the system works a little bit better. Any questions at all about rubrics and evaluating? All right. So hopefully, that gives you some ideas. You can certainly spend a lot more longer than we did on really going in depth with the rubric evaluation. That's why I only asked you guys to pick a couple of elements on the rubric, because it's just something that you could really spend a lot of time. It's a great PLC kind of discussion to say, hey, let's look at these 3 resources, and as an instructional coach, you might prep something before you go in and meet with a group and say, hey, let's look at this one resource together. And you've already kind of looked at it and you've made your assessment of how you would give it, and then use it as a resource with a group of teachers and see how they would, what they point out about it. I do want to just highlight again that we have some badges available for Go Open. There's 3 badges on collaborating, curating, creating. So in addition to the self-paced mini courses, we also have these badges that folks can earn on Go Open. And then I really want to just thank you for your time today. And we do have a link for feedback and also for your CEU certificate. So I'm going to put that link in here, and I'm happy to hang out for a few minutes if anyone has any questions or anything else they want to add. But otherwise, just thank you for your time today, and I look forward to touching base with you again on April 30th. Will be our next home-based meetup for Go Open. And stay warm, and hopefully we'll start to be able to get some more sunshine soon.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam.
Thanks, Pam. I enjoyed this.